call the clip.
If you have a chance to check the Times Republican, it's a really good article, yesterday in the Marshalltown Times.
I don't think I have one of my drawer.
So just go to Times Republican.
Okay.
And I think you can read it for free.
Yeah.
The link's on Facebook.
Okay.
But we,
The link's also on Facebook.
okay, it's 9 o'clock, we'll start a public comment.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you please hold your comments for 5 minutes?
I think I'd like to be the one to start, because I'm gonna be nice to you. So I wanna thank you guys and the auditor's office for sending this letter that's in the newspapers concerning public notice to the county, Tama County citizens to give you suggestions as far as what we can do to help update the ordinances. I gave Laura my recommendations, she gave you a copy. I just sat down last night and wrote out what I thought might work and gave you some suggestions, so I wanna appreciate,
Yeah.
I wanna appreciate the fact that, you know, you're willing to work with us. That means a lot, so if there's any other questions for me, just let me know, so, thank you.
I'm Janet Wilson, and I live on our family farm near Cloutier. Last week, Nancy Yuska asked if the supervisors had read all of the zoning commission applications, interviewed all or some of the applicants, and what criteria was used in making their decision. The abridged minutes state that the supervisors did read all of the applications. Shortly after that, though, it was revealed that Kurt Hilmer was unaware of 4 of the applications. At the meeting, it was also stated that 3 or 4 applications were accepted 1 or 2 days after the September 16th deadline. Shortly thereafter, it was revealed that Dwayne Bracken's application was date stamped February 20th, 2023, more than 5 months after the deadline. In order to be transparent and truthful, I would like both the full minutes and the abridged version to record fully what transpired at the meeting on February 27th. The minutes also state that TCAT reminded the board they need to try and achieve gender balance, while in reality, we reminded them that gender balance is a state code requirement. Last week, it was interesting to me to note that when a citizen new to Tama County said your words and actions were a lawsuit waiting to happen, you paused and tabled your appointment. If a member of our group had said the exact same thing, you would have called us bullies. Thank you.
I just wanted to follow up with a question. I think our group posted a couple weeks ago about the repowering of the Vienna Wind project near Gladbrook. Are you guys at any point been aware of that repowering?
No.
Nothing. Well, I took it upon myself to call the Marshall County engineer because obviously they're in the same footprint of the Vienna Wind project. I spoke to the Marshall County engineer last week and he was fully aware of repowering. Since you all depend on our group to provide you information, repowering is on Mid-America's shortlist. I asked if Marshall County had a road use agreement for the repowering. I was informed that they had the original road use agreement from when the project was originally constructed, but they also have a separate road use agreement for repowering. Unfortunately, after repeated requests from Tama County to provide the citizens a copy of your original road use agreement for the construction of Vienna, the truth came out. You don't have one. It is the responsibility of the 3 of you to protect the citizens of this county. Again, epic fail. Instead of holding the project developers accountable to return the roads to their original condition, you let them pay $25,000 to repair the damage. You TIF the funds from the project for the road. The developer should have bore 100% of the cost, and then you stiff the local school that has since closed. The 3 of you need to impose an immediate moratorium on repowering of all wind projects until you can get your ducks in a row. If you cannot provide the leadership to the taxpayers of this county, I would suggest that you seek employment elsewhere. We expect more. Another question I have is, Is the Iowa Professional Engineer's license in civil engineering required for the open position we have right now in Tama County?
Yes.
It is? Is that a Tama County requirement or a state of Iowa requirement? Does every county engineer have to have, the engineer's license in civil engineering?
I believe they do, yes.
Okay. I didn't know, we had spoke to a couple that didn't have the degree, so we were just asking, is that a Tama County requirement, or, is it something that the state imposes? We just didn't know.
Thought maybe you were gonna apply.
No, thank you. I can't draw a stick person, let alone be an engineer, thank you. Thank you for the offer, though. By the way, Jim is watching a little bit of us, Jim Smith, so I'm not just recording it.
Dennis?
Back to hiring a new engineer, I was told that they download their application off the internet and fill it out, and in there it states if they are ever fired, they are paid to the end of the contract. And in there, if they wanna change it, they have to be given so many months' notice. Are you gonna let them put in this next contract, they get paid till the end of the contract if they get fired? And some other stuff that maybe us people out here in the public should see before it is accepted? He's not a basketball coach or a football coach that gets paid till the end. You get fired because you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
I agree.
I would definitely
Definitely
agree with you too.
if it's up to me, no, there won't be any language like that in there.
Are there any
Thank
union
you.
issues with that, where you would have to, because of like a road workers union, include that clause, or is that something that you guys can decide?
I don't know that there's any union that they have, no.
I didn't know.
We'll get that
Jim,
checked out.
I had no idea what you were talking about last week. I didn't read it. We just got it on my desk, so I was not lying to you when I said he was probably gonna stay here, because that's what I was, it came to be pretty truthful. So, I just wanna let you know that I wasn't trying to hide anything from you. I just had not read the deal that was on my desk yet, so.
So we didn't know, even though you guys sent a letter to Powesheik County, wanting to terminate, the relationship with them back on February 3rd.
Excuse me?
Excuse me?
No, what?
I have a letter that you guys sent to Powesheik County. I guess I could pull it up in my email and read it to you.
Right?
That was signed, saying that you guys no longer wanted to share the engineer. Is that correct, Bill?
Yes,
And it was dated what day? February 3rd?
I think so.
But last week we were caught off guard with Lyle, like no longer gonna be employed with us.
Our intent was
I don't know if it's.
to quit sharing with Powesheik County to bring Lyle up here full-time.
But you put in the letter that he was underperforming.
He was.
So you think he was underperforming because he had a sharing agreement with
Yes.
them? It wasn't that he was underperforming in general? You just
It
thought he
was
was spread
just-
too thin, or what?
He was spread
Yes.
too thin.
Okay, all right, well,
I mean, I think that kind of stuff in the county, I mean, I think that's something we gotta decide, you know, I mean, if you're here when we decide it, but I don't know if we shouldn't probably have to call you to let you know what's going on in that matter, I mean, you know what I mean?
No, I didn't say you had to.
Okay.
I just said that I seen the letter
Oh,
that was
okay.
dated February 3rd that said he was underperforming. It didn't say he was underperforming because he was spread too thin. It just said he was underperforming, which would lead one to believe in the general public that he wasn't doing his job, whether it's a half-time job or a full-time job. It just said he was underperforming, and so I would assume that you were thinking that he wasn't doing his job. And that's how the letter was
Yeah.
written. I mean, if you don't have it, I have a copy of it.
I took it wrong.
Oh, okay, no, that's fine. I don't mind being questioned.
And who will review and make the decision to hire a new engineer?
That would be
Yes,
us.
that's us.
Would be us. He's directly employed under us.
That's what I assumed.
Is he still going to keep working for another couple weeks, like if he gave previous notice, or I didn't know when his ending date
Till
was?
the end of March 27th.
I do have a question on your agenda for later today. You're going to discuss a closed session for zoning and solar. It seemed kind of vague, though. Can you expand on what you guys might be talking about in that closed session? It's just a little more? Like, what kind of zoning and solar topics you would be discussing?
The zoning that has to do with solar, basically. I mean, it's just,
What's the specific reason for going into closed session? Because I know there's only very few items you can go into closed session to discuss.
well, we're gonna discuss, I'd like to discuss a moratorium. I guess it's just all issues on the zoning. I mean, I guess I don't know what else to tell you.
Zoning issues and stuff,
Okay.
with the lawyer.
Yeah,
I guess I'd have to see the exact
yeah.
code
Oh,
to.
boy.
So you'd be talking with the, you'd be talking with the lawyer, and that's the reason for the closed session?
Correct.
Okay.
Attorney-client privilege.
1.9.
Well, that part wasn't in the agenda.
Well, it
Just
says
said,
section 21.9.
okay.
I'm not, I need to look to make sure that's what that is, but
Is that state code or? Tama
it's
code?
Iowa State Code.
State code, okay, thank you.
I can look it up quick.
I just didn't know 21.9 was
Yep,
the
yep,
attorney-client
yep.
privilege, but
I'm
thank
not,
you.
I need to, let me verify that.
Nope, that's fine.
So the letter that you sent to Richard and put in the paper, are the responses you get just coming to you, or are you going to forward them to the zoning, or what's your plan with the responses that you get by March 17th? Are we not gonna go in the normal hearing pattern and have the zoning recommendations before it, or will you just vote for moratorium if you get enough responses saying that they want that, or what's your plan going forward with this?
All I know is just, I just am here to learn, and, I mean, I don't know what the direction to go for sure. The end deal, we don't want them.
Right.
So I suppose that'll be discussed, like, I mean.
I
don't
just didn't know if we were
I don't
gonna do
know
a
the-
different procedure than we normally go through.
I would imagine we still gotta have the public hearings, don't we, or, I mean.
I'm sure you do.
Okay, so you'll you'll read these and then forward them to the zoning commission and then set up meetings. Okay, very good,
Probably. I'm not exactly sure exactly what steps we'll take,
okay.
but we want some ideas from the public, what they
Okay.
would like to see. That's why we're asking, that's why we put that ad in the paper.
Okay.
900 acres around your home.
I've heard 640, I've heard 900, I don't know what to believe. The one thing I'd like to do is, I'd like to extend an invitation out to all three of you to come out to our home. I would like you to see firsthand what this proposed monstrosity is going to do to our acreage, to our neighborhood. We have families with young children that live on rural acreages around this proposed solar farm. These kids go to North Tama. Can you imagine if 640 acres of solar panels went up? These families are gonna run out of the county. And Jeff and I, we've paid property taxes for over 40 years in this county. We've endured every possible property tax hike. We've paid it. And I just feel, I've only been coming to these meetings, this is my third meeting. I just feel like we have absolutely no rights here. That we're hardworking, we've paid our taxes, we've supported our community, we've supported our school, we've supported our fire departments, our ambulance squads. I feel we're good Tama County citizens. It's up to you three to allow big solar to come into this county or not. I personally don't have a problem with residential solar. I don't have a problem with individual homeowners putting up solar panels on their homes, their machine sheds, or even if the farmers want to put a small grid on their property to fuel their farm facilities. I don't have a problem with that. We have to find a way to coexist with all of this technology, turbines and solar farms. The question is to what extent? In your ordinance, I think at the very least, to protect Tama County citizens, you have to limit size and scope. I mean, I don't want to see these solar farms in our county at all, to tell you the truth. I think all you have to do is read about what Lynn County's going through, what Clinton County is going through. They have 1,500 acre to 2,000 acre solar farms invading their county. And of course, they throw all these gigantuous tax revenues. You know, that all looks very attractive. I get it. I get it. But my question for you three is, who is your allegiance to? Is it to your people that elected you? By the people, for the people? Or are you going to kowtow to these solar farms? You know, if we have young families leaving North Tama County, I think you realize it's going to affect our school. I mean, we have been fighting for North Tama School for decades. You have young families leaving because of a proposed monstrosity of a solar farm. All of those rural acreages are going to be, well, they're not going to be worth anything. It's going to affect our enrollment, and you know as well as I do that when the enrollment goes down in the school system, your small businesses start to suffer on Main Street, your towns go down. I mean, there are so many repercussions and angles with what you three are charged with doing. I hope you give yourself the time, do the research to really look at this issue, because it just has such far-reaching effects. To me, the common sense approach to do would be to do a short-term moratorium. Give yourself the time. I would like all three of you to come out to my farm. Well, not farm, acreage.
Oh, okay.
I want you to
Yep,
take a
thank
walk
you.
with me. I want you to see what this proposed complex is gonna look like, because I think you need to visualize it in your mind to see what acres and acres and acres of black metal is gonna look like, and what it's going to do to that part of the county. So we're in the book, we're old school, landline. I welcome you to come. If you can't walk that far, I'll take you on a ranger ride. Seriously, seriously. Because Kurt, you know where I live.
I don't have to come look, cause I.
Well, but I want Mr. Faircloth and Mr. Anderson to
Yes.
come look,
Yeah,
because I think
I think
only
you can-
until you see it.
And look at it.
You what?
I would be happy to come out.
And I welcome you to come.
Okay.
I think you can, I mean, we're gonna try to do what's best here, so just, I think you can rest easy.
I'll be
I hope.
patient, guys, I'll be patient, but the other thing is, I don't understand how somebody can get an easement if there is no industrial ordinance set. Can you explain that process to me? I mean, it's not the same as a permit, I got that. But how can Mr. Kuchera do all of this paperwork in this county when there is no industrial solar ordinance set in stone?
It's because there's no ordinance, there's nothing to stop them. If there was an ordinance, there would be guidelines, but without the ordinance,
He
it's
can do whatever he wants.
it's basically a blank slate and nothing that could stop them.
So there's nothing really to prevent anybody else from invading any part of this county
That's right.
and setting up shop.
Right, just cause they have an easement doesn't mean they're gonna get it.
I get that.
And
I understand that. I understand that, but you try and tell that to my neighbors that live around
Yeah.
me. I mean, they are definitely all up in arms. You know, they're all employed. They can't come to these meetings, but they sure would love to hear what's being said here online. They would take the time to do that.
Yes, sir. Most of you know me here. I'd like to bring up some personal experiences with these wind towers.
Can we hear your name?
Steve Tupka.
Okay.
I live south of Cloutier,
Okay.
IB 18. I work for PCI out of Rhinebeck, and last summer I hauled a lot of brick away from the Gladbrook School. But on the way to Gladbrook, was coming from Des Moines, coming up from Green Mountain, there's about 6 of us at the time. I lost my Des Moines radio station. Didn't think nothing of it. So I tried, this is next to the wind towers, I tried to get on Kix 101. Couldn't get it. Went into Gladbrook, Kix 101 came on. Went back out and took that same blacktop north up to a feedlot where we filled in put the bricks into a silt ponds from this feedlot that used to feed 5,000 head a year. I used to haul cattle into that feedlot, up and down that Green Mountain Road all the time. My CB radios would work good. Now, going up that blacktop, we lost communication between the trucks because we lost the wind towers that interfered with it. I met a guy from Conrad that worked at PCI, and he was telling me I should be against this. I says, why? Because we lose communications on our safety, for the ambulance and in that area. Sure, it comes back. There's nothing wrong with the radios. It just, Dan Anderson and I had this comment here we visited 2-3 weeks ago, and he was telling me about cell phones down by Mike Doyle. I don't know if you guys have familiar, he lives north of, what highway is that, Dan?
That's E69.
69,
It's
East
miles
West
from
Road.
Powashik County.
Yeah, but it used to be about an 8 mile stretch. I hauled livestock, hauled a lot of cows for Tama Pack. About an 8 mile stretch in there, I'd lose contact with the cell phones. So I called my provider, and they said, would you work with us? I said, what do you mean work with us? Well, we have to go up and adjust our cones on our towers. And it took us 2 weeks to get that down to about a mile and a half stretch now, where there's contact loss. But he improved it because, so I tried to call the wind towers, and I couldn't get no response from them. They just hang up on me. So evidently there's nothing they could do to fix it. That's personal experience. And I traveled that road down by Dan, by Mike Doyle's, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, sometimes 6 times a day. I use that road a lot. And I dispatched other trucks, get loads out of different sale barns. Tama Pack would call me, give me the loads, and I would get to find trucks for them. So, that is a big deal there. But these wind towers, you can't do nothing about it. You lose it, you lose it. It's my personal experience, so that's why I'm here.
Well, and to your point, when they repowered Gladbrook, where you were traveling on Wallace Avenue through there, those towers, if they're due
Right
permits.
south of Gladbrook.
Yep.
2 of us traveled that road one day, and we lost them momentarily. But if they repower, it could screw it up worse.
Right, because they're probably gonna repower with bigger blades,
Yeah.
taller towers, and that's what, when I spoke to the Marshall County engineer, he told me the size of the new towers and, the size of the new blades, and, yeah, we need to stay on top of it.
I was in a rest area one day, and here come a truck in with a windmill arm on it, or blade, and part of one. And I says, what's wrong with that blade? Why did it crack or whatever? He said, it looks like bullet holes to me. So they've been, going that way.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
I don't remember anything specific about repowering permits for wind towers in our ordinance. I know our ordinance is small. As far as permits go, do they need one to repower, or is it currently a loophole in our ordinance for Vienna?
I believe that they have to have one.
Yeah.
And you guys would get the new height and all that, verify if they're the right distance and everything? Okay.
Yeah, that has to go through the zoning. Homes, isn't that right, Laura?
I believe so.
Now, because it'd be approved by the Board of Adjustment, would they actually see that, or would it only be done by the zoning administrator and not be really sent to the Board of Adjustment for review?
I believe it goes to the Board of Adjustment for
Yeah.
review, just like their original permit. And there's a hearing, and then whatever they decide gets brought to the Board of Supervisors for their approval.
Flip you around, hold on.
It's Monday.
Good morning.
Took the other route.
Can you guys see Nancy? She might have a question for you. I don't know if you can see her. I'll try to turn the volume up, Nance. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
I realize that people are working and they want to see what these meetings are all about. They really need to be streamed. Our church services, they're streamed. The school board meetings, they're streamed. I'm in the hospital. With Jim. And I really want to be here with you watching this. I can't be there. I have to be here. I would really appreciate you guys speeding up the process of getting these microphones and the streaming going. Please do this. Thank you.
Tell Jim we love him.
Ask Nancy.
Okay.
Nancy, how's Jim doing?
He's still in ICU, and he's still he's got his tracheotomy that's breathing for him. Right now he's going through some spells where his body is twitching just out of control. He's got a little bit of movement, minute, in his one finger, so that's a plus. The GBS Foundation from Philadelphia say it will probably be 3 months before we see anything that's starting to show some movement of his hands and feet. From here we go to a long-term rehab, acute rehab. It may be out of state somewhere, and we'll be there for probably a year. And this is really important to me that we get this live stream going so that I can watch, and everybody else that can't make it off of work and take vacation all the time so that they can watch too. It really means a lot to me.
Okay. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you and your family, Nancy.
Thank you, you guys.
You bet.
I've
Absolutely.
been hearing from all of you, and it's making me feel really good. And I tell Jim, who I'm getting calls from and little text messages from, and I read him his stories, and he shakes his head. That's all he can do. He can't move anything other than his head. He's had 2 cardiac arrests from this Guillain-Barré syndrome. It's affected his nerves that go into his heart, and so it's been tough, but we're gonna make it.
Good. We'll continue to pray for you.
Okay, we'll keep praying.
Thanks, Nance. Love you.
Just a follow-up on that, just a reminder, last fall, I had brought you guys some numbers that I had just looked, commercial numbers. We could get audio and speaker equipment set up for as low as $400 in $400 to $1,000 range, so it wouldn't be overly expensive. We wouldn't have to renovate. We just have to set up a few microphones and speakers and somebody to record and post. And your website doesn't need to be able to hold video, it just needs to be able to hold a link. YouTube videos or YouTube accounts are free. It's what TCAT uses, is just a link to a YouTube account. So it would be very minimal as far as other costs to the county, I believe. I think it would be minimal as far as other costs to the county. And I mean, if you can purchase it commercially, it could be set up very quickly, I would think. So just...
Tammy, does the new company that we paid $17,000 to take over our website, does it offer live streaming?
I don't know. Haven't asked him.
Can we find out?
I can ask him.
Okay.
I don't think the board's interested in that right now. We have to
Wait,
Oh, time out. You don't speak for the board. You don't speak for the board.
Wait a
Excuse me.
second. We have to remodel, if you remember. There's no reason to do any of that until, remember, you gotta add 2 more?
Well, I plan on, don't we just put them here?
I don't know. I
I
don't know
would-
what you can do, to be honest.
I will,
You can move the cameras.
But at that time, I'm sure that would be a good time to really address how you wanna do it, especially if you have to.
That's 2
That's
years.
2 years out. We don't have
It's
2
not
years.
2 years.
Speakers and
from now.
microphones don't have to be part of a remodel. They
I'm
can,
not saying anything, it's up to them.
Yeah.
They
I
can
mean-
say what they
I mean,
want.
we could set a speaker on this table here and just have microphones set up close enough to hear. It is very hard to hear a lot of people on the video. I've had people comment to me. I'm sure other people have had them comment that it's very hard to hear unless you're talking very loudly.
The landfill's been set up
didn't hear you.
Yeah, there.
Go figure.
Thank you, Kurt.
Something about a commissioner?
Pam, can you speak up?
The landfill has Zoom been set up for their meetings, and they're way out in the middle of nowhere. Why can't it be here where there's tons of more people and more interest in these meetings?
Get her done.
Just do it for Jim and Nancy.
It's
I-
after 9:30. We're gonna have to call the meeting to order.
See you, Nancy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You're welcome.
Okay. Have a motion to approve minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, do you want me to make corrections to my, public comments? I just wanna address that while we're all here,
Or
to show that he hadn't read all of the.
That Janet
That we
recommended.
want it fully recorded, so people know what was said and what was done. I think we need additions to those minutes.
Because those include actions and opinions from you guys, not just details missing, it was actions that reflected.
okay, I suppose we'll have to adjust them.
Yes.
Okay, I will adjust them and then we'll officially approve them next week then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay,
Okay, so we'll just approve, or
We won't approve the minutes.
Won't approve the
next week, until next week. Okay.
okay, Lyle.
I've got, printout for you guys that you can share a copy with each of them. Talk about the shop, we've got 3 pickups that we're in more urgent need of replacing. And we've had a fairly decent winter, and it looks like we have the funds to go ahead and replace those. Tice motor, valve plane, can get us something for 33,000 half-ton pickups. We're gonna approach them about purchasing 3 of those in order to make that happen. We're still hauling rock to the soft areas, we're doing blading yet. We still have, there's still some chance for snow in the coming week. But we are working in the direction of, trying to work more in the direction of, summer work, so like the mortar graders, we're gonna be removing the wing posts from them so that we can lighten them up as they go down and blade along the edge of the road, it makes a difference. We don't know if we can haul contract rock just yet, we're gonna wait to see what the forecast is for the end of the week. And then, later on in the week, maybe like Wednesday, Thursday, figure out if maybe we can try to target next week or we can start hauling rock with contract posts. And there's been some work on the shop here more recently. The other item that I believe is on the agenda is, I didn't write it down here, is a, down in Haven, Eureka, whatever you wanna call it, there is a, little parcel of ground that is currently road right-of-way. It was something that when the town of, Eureka was platted out, 18 whatever,
18 something, yeah.
they dedicated some of the ground for streets, they dedicated it to the public. So technically, we still own the ground. There is a house sitting on the ground right now. It is not something that anybody uses as a road, nobody has driven on it. I don't know if ever, it's never been a road, it was never developed as a road. But it was dedicated to the public, which means we still own it. Therefore, we need to have a road vacation hearing in order to get rid of this from our property, to turn it over. Laura has a resolution to establish a public hearing, and that's what, did she give you a copy of that?
Yes.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, we can go ahead and, you want me to go ahead and read it and act on it now, so he has questions while he's here? So we're gonna number it resolution, 36/2023A, resolution for a road vacation public hearing. Whereas a request from the county engineer has been filed with the Tama County Board of Supervisors, asking that action be taken to vacate a portion of a Tama County secondary road described as follows. Beginning at the northwest corner of lot 22, thence west 8 feet to the center of the vacated alley, thence north 60 feet, east 8 feet to the southwest corner of lot 23, thence east 148 feet to the southeast corner of lot 23, then south 60 feet to the northeast corner of lot 22, thence west 148 feet to the point of beginning, all in Marshall's plat of the town of Eureka, also known as Haven, Tama County, Iowa, known as the unincorporated community of Haven, section 21, township 83, range 14, all in Tama County, Iowa. Whereas the intention of this road closure is to vacate any unused and unnecessary portion of the public road, original and with modifications, and whereas an individual owning property adjacent to the road has requested the road be vacated, therefore be it resolved that a hearing on the proposed vacation will be held in accordance with Iowa Code Chapter 306. Said meeting shall take place at 9:30 a.m. on Monday, March 27th, 2023, at the Boardroom, Tama County Administration Building, 104 West State Street, Toledo, Iowa, 52342.
Okay, I would ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 3-6-2023A.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Do we need a roll call vote?
Yep, roll call vote. Kurt?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Okay.
We will send out, whenever you have a public hearing like this, it's necessary to send out certified mail to the adjoining landowners. We will do that, and we will also have it published in the newspaper.
Okay.
I have nothing further. If you have anything further.
B Avenue north of 146, Bob, who was it, Bob?
It was, Bob Stonewall, yeah.
He called, said he had no rock in
They
there
live a couple miles north there on the,
quite some time, so we might want to check that.
We have a couple miles north of
H Avenue's really, really bad.
and H Avenue north of E29, 63.
H&T.
Did you just haul gravel on there a couple weeks ago?
We've hauled quite a bit.
Yeah, I just got a voicemail again about it, so. It's gonna be everywhere.
I got a question. The South Tama School District voted on buying or taking over the juvenile home. The state said they would tear down all the buildings and haul them away free. They had a contract sent out, and they had 3 contracts, one for 900,000, one for 1.2 million, and another one for 1.5. Well, they agreed for the one with 900,000 to tear all the buildings down. And they had a deadline of March 1st. Well, the frost went out of the road, and the contractor hauled all that stuff from 63 on 290th Street up to Sam Ferris's. The road is destroyed. Are you gonna go after the state, the contractor, or who to help fix it back the way it was before they tore it up?
We oftentimes will request when people are hauling like that to participate. We have not, like if we have a large contract, like if the state, the DOT, if they're doing work, yes, they will do that. They'll participate in fixing up a road. But in circumstances like this, no, we do not.
We can't go back after the state then?
The state would have had a contract with the person taking away the stuff, but they would not have a contract with where it's going to.
So we, the people of Tama, is gonna have to pay for fixing the road up and they get away with it.
Essentially. No different than when anytime anything heavy is hauled, you know, we run into it in the fall, of course.
Would that have been heavy enough to get, to need road permits, like special heavyweight road permits that could cover it?
I'm sure that they're hauling legal loads or.
And it was just
close
too
to
muddy?
legal loads.
Probably.
Anytime you haul a bunch of loads on a rock road, you are going to tear it up.
If it rains-
Even in dry conditions.
If it rains, the people up that road are not gonna get through there.
We've done some work up there, yeah, we're aware of it.
I was just out there Sunday and seen it. And the supervisors, I go out there and look at it and see what I'm talking about. It's bad.
It's difficult to go after somebody for hauling a legal load on a legal road.
Right, right. But
I understand what you're asking completely.
there ought to be some kind of compensation here to help fix it back up.
So Lyle, if we can't find a road use agreement like for the Vienna repowering of Vienna, who is in charge of getting a road use agreement set up between you and Mid-American, or or anybody, so if we can't find that document, the road use agreement with Mid-American, and they reimbursed you for some road damage, how do we as Tama County citizens not bear the responsibility? If they're gonna repower in Vienna, so it's on the short list, they're repowering. So I talked to Marshall County engineer, he says, hey, we've already got, we have a regular road use agreement for construction, we have a separate one for repower because it's not as much damage to the roads. Does that make sense? So they already have that in place, they're already repowered in Laurel, and they just got finished with repowering the Laurel project and have a repowering agreement. So who initiates that in our county? Who covers us for the condition of bringing the roads back to the original condition when they start these projects?
Back at the time when Vienna happened,
No.
you weren't questioning.
No.
Back at the time, Vienna approached the county, and there was a number of people that were set up to talk with him at that time. I was included in that conversation. But Vienna approached us back at that time in order to set that up. Approached the county in general, and the county.
So but if I'm Mid-American, I don't wanna sign anything if I don't have to. Don't we need to be proactive and tell them, we need a road use agreement before you do anything? I mean, we can't expect them to bring it to us, cause it's to their benefit to not have anything. So obviously, we didn't have one the first time.
Is there
I think there was one.
Yeah.
Just can't find it.
Previous road
No, I've
use
provided it.
agreement? Would that-
No, the only thing you
would that-
provided was the reimbursement for the $25,000 for the damages
I
to the
believe I
roads.
provided it to Heather way back at the beginning. I can look it up again, but there is a road use agreement that I've shared with somebody.
Okay, cause I asked for the last couple of weeks and nobody
That
could
was
find
done
it.
back in 2000, yeah, it's been sent. But I can, if you give me a request, I'll send it.
Okay.
Have the pipeline emissions applied for permits anywhere in Tama County?
Pipeline emissions.
Carbon emission?
CO2.
I don't think the CO2 line, I haven't heard anything about it coming through Tama County at all.
Have you supervisors heard anything about that at all?
No.
They had something in, gosh, it's been about a year ago, when Tama County was not part of it a year ago.
A lot has happened in a year.
Correct, but nothing has, I have not seen anything indicating we've been changing.
And question number 2, back during the COVID pandemic, how were these meetings put out to the public? For the whole last half hour, we've talked about public notification, public awareness. For 2 years, maybe 2.5, how did you get information out to the public then, when nobody could be here?
Through Zoom.
Oh, so it's already set up. So we could already be using it right now for the last year.
I don't know.
And
about
why
that.
not? I mean, it's
I
there.
don't know about that, but I do know.
I believe you, Dan, but
But
there
I do
is
know.
at least one person in this room that does know about that, who said you guys don't want anything publicized.
I didn't say that.
I didn't
just
say
said
that. I know,
when-
I said it.
When COVID was bad and we couldn't come in,
Yes,
we had Zoom,
yes,
okay? And that's
So it
how
wouldn't
we-
be too hard to
that's-
set it back
That's
up.
how we did our meetings.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
What company is that rumor was on? Somebody said there was one in Grundy Center.
It's the Brent Center.
Is it?
Yeah, I think their company name is Road Rumor, but I don't remember.
I think it is too. Alright. One of these days I'd like to get with you.
so Dan, last week I insulted you, and I'm sorry about the South Tama thing, but you know, in the Bible it says several places that in the end times men's hearts are gonna give out. They are. And this, when the SH hits the fan on this whole thing, project, just in Tama County alone, men's hearts are giving out, and it could be anybody in this room. I believe you when you say there's a lot of things you don't know that's going on. Again, I would like to know why there's one person in this room that seems to run the whole county, and it's not Lyle. That's my question.
Steve, anything you wanna add?
I'd like to bring up, there's a bill going on to get these small town schools demolished, like Cloutier has a building there, different buildings, so something needs to be done before they start, that bill goes through to protect the roads and to get the roads just paid for. I just read that in the Des Moines paper here a week ago or so, Cedar Rapids, they put on which one.
Yeah, I heard something about that, Steve. They're gonna try to help demolish these old school buildings.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know how many are in Tama County, but I imagine there's several.
Well, there's Chelsea and
Where's
Montour.
the asbestos go?
I know a little bit about that bill, that's the Dean Fisher bill.
Yes.
And what it is, that we wanna get rid, I have church property on the Geneseo School, and we need to get rid of that, the Cloutier, there's others. And so he proposed a bill where, this land would go back on the tax rolls, but before this can happen, the county or some entity, probably the county, would take, ownership of this. Then this bill would pay for the demolishing the schools, and then that land would go back to the county, and then it could be sold off as, farmland, probably not that, maybe residential, whatever. So that's what that bill is, and I don't know if it's advanced, made the cut last Friday. But they told me to let your county people know, because you're gonna have to be involved, or these schools are just gonna keep standing. But you wouldn't have to pay for the demolishing of it, but, you just have to take ownership of it, and then you can sell it off, and, it can go back on the property tax rolls, rather than just sit there with doing nothing.
Be responsible for it, yeah, and probably the roads are gonna be torn
Well,
up.
yeah, the roads, I didn't even come up with that, but yes.
Okay,
So before, Lyle, before you do leave our county, with the roads falling apart just from hauling out juvenile home garbage and everything else that's going on with the gravel and mud roads, perhaps before you leave, you could set it up with Tammy as to how she plans to fix up all the Tama County roads. That would be a great thing. Because once you leave, you can't ask her how she plans to do it.
The worst part of it is the understanding that I've been told that road is up to be rebuilt this summer. And the rock that they're gonna put on it now to get it passable until then is gonna be a waste of money. So you're literally gonna pay for it twice. And it can't, well, I can't say it can't, but Sam's got that campground up there that he wants all the Ragbri people to go to camp this summer. So we really can't have the road tore up to close him down. You're between a rock and a hard spot. What are we gonna do?
In the past, when we've done work like this where you've got rock base on a road, and we're gonna be building the road up, what we've tried to do is collect the rock, not to haul it off and then bring it back on the surface, but we put it together in the middle of the road. It creates a pretty good rock core in the middle of the road, which does end up giving some extras. It's not completely wasted. It doesn't get its full value, I agree with you, but when we can pile the rock together in the middle of the road, make a windrow that's maybe a foot, 2 foot high, all of a sudden now we got a core in of the road bed that's rock instead of sod. So it's not completely wasted, I would say. But not, you're correct, not the full value.
Okay, we need to move on. We got a 9:45 appointment for Dan and Deb Bakken. Do we need Amanda up here?
thanks, Lyle.
We need Amanda. Thank you, Lyle.
Do I just do? Yeah, come on up.
Name's Dan Bachman, my wife couldn't make it, but, what I'm here for today is, I realize there's a property that joins my property in Tama, and it has been delinquent on taxes since 2017, and I understand the county's bought the certificate for this, and I would like to offer to buy the certificate from the county.
We have Amanda coming up to.
She's not
Bring us all our-
well, she's not answering. Let me go see
Oh.
if she's in today.
I hope she's not so.
Seems to be going around though.
How you been, Dan? Haven't seen you in a while. Where's that property at?
It's, I've got the old Williams manufactured building.
Oh,
and
okay.
South McClellan.
She's waiting on someone, so it'll be just a few minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Laura.
Mm-hmm.
I do realize that the city of Tama has, I believe, $440 assessment against the property with mowing and other things. I've sent a letter to the city and in discussions with them about possibly relinquishing that or, you know, maybe being partial on it.
What would they tell you?
Oh, they're actually meeting right now, I think, on that.
Okay.
But I'm fully aware that if I go through the process and that money has to be covered one way or the other before the title or the deed can be transferred.
Yes, sir.
It's just one lot and.
Yeah, it's, basically vacant with a little shed on it that, even before the derecho, it was part of the siding and then there's some debris around it. There's
Clean it up, give yourself a little more room.
Well, and I actually have mowed part of it, not knowing where my property line was, and now that I realize where my property line was, I don't feel I should be crossing it to keep their property up, so.
Not mention it, so you think.
But yeah, there's actually still some debris from the derecho left on it and stuff, so it just. Whole thing, he just needs to clean it up.
Yeah. Got the building pretty well full.
Too full.
Yeah.
Trying to get stuff sold so we can.
Move more stuff in.